Hello there, everyone, and welcome to our virtual science classroom. I am your teacher, Daryl Del Mundo. Amazing to each and every one of you. And since we are done with quarter one, week one, we will now proceed to our week number two. So I know that you already familiar with our topic in the first week, so that we can proceed to the new and more exciting topic for week number two. And I know that you will become excited because you are already familiar with this one. Siguro yung iba sa inyo alam na or yung iba mas gusto pang malaman yung topic natin sa araw na to. Kaya naman our topic is all about matter because matter matters. Okay? Around us, we are made up of matter. When you look up outside, when you look out inside, when you look out everywhere, we are surrounded by matter. Okay? And to start with, this module is divided into three lessons. Namely, lesson number one, differentiating elements and compounds. And for lesson number two, we will also know the history and the basis of the naming of some elements. And not only that, for lesson number three, we will tackle all about the importance and uses of elements and compounds. So sit back, relax, watch, and listen. We will tackle first differentiating elements and compounds so that you will not be confused. Hindi kayo nalilito kung alin dito yung element, alin ba yung compound. Maybe some of you will say, sir, the four elements are fire, wind, water, and earth. But that is not the scientific elements that we are talking about. Okay? We are going to tackle about the elements that can be found in our world. Okay? Here on Earth. Okay, so those are the elements. That's different one. Okay, so as an introduction, you have probably encountered a lot of different substances at home. So in your way to school or even in school, you will see a lot of things. From kitchenware, you will see silver, aluminum, or even sugar, table salt, which is you are very familiar with. And sometimes you know that we are surrounded by air. Okay, and you know the air oxygen. I know that you know that oxygen and carbon dioxide. We inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. And that is most important substances that can be found here on Earth. And that is all about matter. So these are the only some of the substances we live with every day because they are part of elements and compounds and they are both matter. Okay, so we believe that everything around us made up of matter. So whether you are outside the earth, whether you are inside the earth, we are all made up of matter. The earth is one large mixture of gases, liquids, and solids. So you know the three states of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. But we have now six. Okay? So you will know it in the video presentation that you will watch in your Google Classroom also. And from inside your house, going outside your house, everything is made up of matter. Because matter, anything or everything that occupies space. I am occupying space, I am a matter. This room is occupied by gases, although you cannot see them, but they are made up of matter. The curtain behind me is made up of matter, that is solid. So we can consider solid as a matter. So everything in this world, even you, are made up of matter. Okay? So the best way to understand matter is to classify them. And here is the diagram that shows how matter matters and how it is classified. So matter can be classified whether it can be physically separated. If yes, that's a mixture. If no, that is a pure substance. Okay, so we will tackle first more about this pure substance. Okay, so pure substance are classified into elements and compounds. They are homogeneous materials because they have only one phase and made up of only one kind of matter all throughout. For an instance, we have here AU. or the gold. Okay, you're familiar with this one. And we have C for carbon. Carbon, yan yung parang uling. Okay, na nakikita natin sa palengke. An example of that is charcoal. Putik, pwede rin. And we have here H2O, water. So, sino ba naman hindi nakakaalam sa tubig? And then we have, that is not a rice, okay? That's a table salt. NaCl or sodium chloride. So, every part in a sample of a pure substance has the same characteristics all throughout, since it has a uniform and definite composition. So, when we are talking about gold, everything inside of it is made up of gold. When we are talking about carbon, it contains only carbon, no other elements, okay? And we have H2O, so it is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. So only hydrogen and oxygen, no other elements. That is a compound, H2O. And NaCl, that is only composed of Na and Cl, which is sodium and chlorine. Okay? So those are some examples of elements and compounds. Gold and carbon are elements, while water and sodium chloride or salt are compounds. So, how are we going to differentiate the two? How will we know if this substance is an element and if this substance is a compound? So, basically, elements are the simplest kind of matter, consists of only one kind of atom, carbon, oxygen, sodium, iron, gold, copper are examples of elements in the periodic table. Okay, if you are familiar with the periodic table of elements, those are the elements that can be found here on Earth. Okay, we are not talking about the fire, the wind, the earth. Okay, and then whatever elements that you are thinking about right now. So we are not talking about the avatar or the Encantadia mode kind of elements. So that's not it. So these are some examples of it. So we have gold, silver, copper, platinum, and palladium. And it cannot be broken down into simpler form because these are the simplest form of this matter. Okay? And compounds, on the other hand, is composed of two or more kinds of atoms, like water. Like what I've said a while ago, it is composed of hydrogen and oxygen. Specifically, two hydrogens and one oxygen. Salt, NaCl, sodium and chlorine, together to form table salt. Then we have carbon dioxide. It is made up of carbon and two oxygen. Can be represented by a chemical formula, as you can see here. This is an example of chemical formula, and can be broken down into simpler form by chemical means, like electrolysis. Electrolysis is like you are going to put electricity for them to be able to separate. Okay, for an instance, H2O, if you are going to put electricity or if you're going to apply electricity to water, it will evaporate. So when it evaporates, class, meaning to say the water turned into gas, the oxygen and the hydrogen separated. And this is an example of them is sodium metal and chlorine gas to form a table salt. So that is an example of our compound here. Again, this is the chemical formula, NaCl. When you saw two or more different kinds or the same kinds of atoms together, that is a compound. If it's only single, that is an element. For lesson number 2, these are the history and the basis of naming of elements because we have a lot of elements and it is easy for us to be able to identify one to the other is for them to know the history and how are we going to name those elements. So let's start. As a background, elements can be found everywhere. In fact, in the entire universe, considering that they are the building blocks of all kinds of matter, up to date, there are 118 named and identified elements. 92 of them are naturally occurring, meaning to say, nakikita natin dito sa loob mismo ng Earth. Maliwanag. So 92 of them are can be found naturally. Okay? And only a small percentage are artificially prepared in laboratories with the use of new technologies. So those are the artificial elements. Okay? So meaning to say they are man-made. Ginawa na lang sila ng tao kasi artificial na sila. And they are described to be unique because each has its own name, chemical symbol, and atomic number. And these elements can be found in the periodic table that is based on their increasing atomic numbers from left to right in periods and in groups for having similar chemical properties. So we all know the periods are the horizontal part of the periodic table, while the groups are the column, okay, or the vertical lines that can be found in the periodic table. So when you see the horizontal line or the horizontal part of the periodic table, that is the increasing atomic numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. While groups, meaning to say they are groups or families because they shared the same or similar characteristics. And these are the bases of naming elements and its examples. Elements name have originated in various ways. They are named after people who discovered the elements, and some of them are artificial elements. Some are named after scientists who are well known for their outstanding contributions. So, if you are a famous scientist, you will be one of these days can be named after an element. Okay? And not only that, because some of the artificial elements, man-made elements, are named after those people. And other names derive from their minerals in which they are found, named after the places where they are discovered. Remember that. Also in their properties, mythological characteristics or characters rather, and astronomical objects. So those are the bases of their names. The people, scientists who are well known, minerals, places, properties, mythological characters, and astronomical objects. So here are some of its examples. So we have here the name of the element and then the origin. So we have Einsteinium. Okay, Einsteinium named after from Albert Einstein, which is a well-known scientist. Rutherfordium, named after Ernest Rutherford, who is also a well-known scientist. Calcium, so its origin is calyx, limestone, so came from minerals. And then silicon from silex or silex, silex, I guess. Silex, which is a sand, that is also a form of mineral. Then polonium, its origin is from Poland, so it is named after the place. And then we have germanium. Okay, very good. It is named after its origin, where it is found from Germany. And then hydrogen came from the word hydro, which means water producer, its property. And then uranium, its origin is from the planet Uranus, which is also an astronomical object. So we have Neptunium and whatsoever, and so on. And we have helium. Okay, its origin is from the Helios, which is the sun god. It is a mythological character. Okay, so those are the examples of the elements name, their origin, and where do they came from. And also, and the naming of elements, we have here the Swedish chemist who is Baron John Jacob Berzelius from 1779 to 1848, introduced the modern system of chemical nomenclature. When we are talking about chemical nomenclature, this is the naming or yung pagpapangalan ng mga elements sa periodic table. Okay, it started the use of chemical symbols. He uses symbols. Use their initial letter of the common or Latin name of an element and its capitalized form. If two letters, only first letter is capitalized. So kapag isa lang, automatic that's a capital letter. But if it is composed of two letters, the first letter is capitalized, the other one is not. So here are some examples. Okay, so we have the element carbon. The symbol for it is C. We have hydrogen. The symbol for it is H. Oxygen, O. Nitrogen, N. Calcium, Ca for its symbol. And cobalt, Co for its symbol. See, we have two letters here, meaning to say the first letter is capitalized. The second letter is not. So here are other examples of elements name. We have argon, Ar, aluminum, Al, gallium, Ga, germanium, Ge. And these are some of the English name, the Latin name, and their chemical symbol. So these are the list of the elements that the symbol came from its Latin name, not from its English or common name. So we have number one, copper, came from the Latin word cuprum. The chemical symbol is Cu. Gold came from the Latin name aureum, which is made the chemical symbol Au. Then silver, argentum, Ag. Iron, ferrum, Fe. Mercury, hydrargyrum, Hg. Potassium came from the Latin name kalium, that has the chemical symbol of K, not P. Okay, and then we have sodium, came from the Latin name natrium, which has the chemical symbol of Na. And the decision and naming of elements or symbols is by an organization named the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, or the IUPAC. So they are the organization that is focused on the naming and giving a respective symbol to each and every element that is being discovered. Okay? And this is a sample of the periodic table of elements. We have here the elements in the periodic table that are arranged from 1 to 7, which are the periods. Okay, so these are the periods class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 periods and 1 to 18 groups, which is, we can consider the red part of this periodic table. So the red numbers. So we're going to see here that we have 18 groups. We have 18 vertical columns or 18 vertical cubes or squares here. So those are the groups. We have 18 groups, and the first 56 elements are found in the periodic table, as you can see. So do not forget that we have 7 periods and we have 18 groups. For example, so you have an activity regarding this one. Period 1, group 1. So you will get the period 1, this is period 1, and then group 1, this is group 1, and then you are going to interconnect, or the place where they will meet, that is the element that is asking for. So we have period 1, group 1, the elements that was asked is hydrogen. We have period 3, group 2. So the place where they meet is the element that is being asked. So we have magnesium. So this is period 3, then group 2. So the element name is magnesium, and the symbol is Mg. Okay, so that's how you are going to look for element in the periodic table, by giving periods and groups. And now for lesson number 3, the importance and uses of elements and compounds. Maybe you are wondering what are the uses of these elements and what are the uses of these compounds. Maybe some of you already know. You know the uses of salt, sugar, gold, copper. So those are basic. So we are going to deal with that, and we will go deep into that topic. So elements and compounds. Different elements have been identified and discovered. When 2 or more elements combine chemically, it will form compounds. Therefore, elements and compounds are natural components of our environment, as you can see. So helium is an element. Oxygen is also an element. It contains only one kind of atom. But compounds, again, composed of two or more kinds of atoms like H2O, two oxygen, and one hydrogen. Now, can you imagine how the Earth exists without elements and compounds? It is like a blank paper. It is nothing to do with everything, right? So, in our Earth's crust, these are the elements that can be found. So, basically, it is composed entirely with oxygen with 47% and 28% silicon and the rest of the elements, okay, that can be found in the Earth's crust. So as we all know, class, elements are everywhere. They can be found everywhere and anywhere, like what I said a while ago. This is very true. So below, you will see the relative abundance of elements in the environment and in the human body. And we will study the essential elements found in our body and in our environment. So these are the examples. So we have Earth's crust, and then we have Earth's water, and then we also have Earth's air and human body. As you can see in Earth's crust, Earth's water, and human body, we are largely made up of oxygen. And in the Earth's crust, it is followed by aluminum, or rather, sorry, silicon, and then followed by aluminum, iron, calcium, sodium, and potassium. Others are 5% in a total of 100%. So in Earth's water, so we all know it is composed of H2O, entirely made up of oxygen, hydrogen, chlorine, and sodium. In Earth's air, composed of 78% of nitrogen and 21% of oxygen, and the other 1% are the other gases. So basically in the atmosphere, it is made up of nitrogen. That is 78%. While in the human body, we are largely composed of 65% of oxygen, 18% of carbon, 10% of hydrogen, 3% of nitrogen, 2% of calcium, and 1% of potassium and other elements in a total of 100%. So that is the chemical composition of human body. And the examples of elements and their uses are here in our list. So the human body is made up of elements as well as compounds such as carbon dioxide and water vapor in the air. Here are some of examples. So we have nitrogen, and the symbol is N. It is used in the production of ammonia and fertilizer. Neon, Ne, used for neon signs and advertisements. Yung mga nakikita yung bright lights, plus yung mga glow in the dark. Okay, so yun yung mga neon lights na usually it's very bright at night. Sodium, Na, component of table salt. Sodium, hydrogen for soap making. So our soap is also made up of sodium. Then aluminum, Al, made into aluminum foils and cans, material for spacecraft and kitchen utensils. Copper, Cu, material for electrical wirings. Its alloys can be made into weapons, watches, and doorknobs. Oxygen, O, for manufacture of steel, for welding, component of ozone. O3, that is ozone. Hydrogen, H, used for welding, for rocket fuel. Helium, He, used to inflate balloons, used in liquid fuel rockets. Carbon, which is C for its chemical symbol, used in pencil leads, in the form of diamond, used as cutting tools. And zinc, which is Cn, used to make galvanized iron sheets, dry cell casing. And then here are some examples of compounds. Go to the examples of compounds. Common compounds that are usually found at home in some substances, from cleaning materials to household building materials, and etc. So we have here some sodium examples. Sodium bicarbonate, which is NaHCO3, used as for baking. So that is the common name of sodium bicarbonate. Sodium bicarbonate is baking soda, used in bread making, make cake, and bread dough to rise. And then potassium hydroxide, KOH, used to dissolve grease and hair in drains. Sodium hydroxide, NaOH, used in soap making and drain cleaner. Calcium hydroxide, that is CaOH2, used in making plaster and cement. Next, we have nitric acid, HNO3, used to make fertilizers and explosives. Acetic acid, CH3COOH, acid in vinegar. So if you know vinegar, suka in Tagalog. Then hydrochloric acid, HCl, known as muriatic acid, used to remove stains in tiles, rust, and stains in concrete and metals. Calcium carbonate or CaCO3, component of chalk, limestone, and marble. Phosphoric acid, H3PO4, used to make detergents and fertilizers. Sulfuric acid, H2SO4, component of car battery. So those are common compounds that can be found from inside your house up to from building, from cleaning household materials up to house building materials. So these are the common ones that maybe that you know. Okay, so this is also an important matter that we need to discuss when it comes to elements and compounds. Okay, check your nutrition facts. Nutrition facts are always located at the back of the, what we call this, the product that you're going to buy or what you're going to purchase. So sometimes they can be found in the food we eat that is located in the nutrition facts. So elements and compounds is located in the nutrition facts as well. At the back of it, of the packaging, you can see here whether your food is healthy or not. So example, we have cereal A and cereal B. So which is healthier, A or B, based on its nutrition facts, or nutrition facts rather. So we have here fiber. Let's look at the fiber. We have 28% of fiber in 1/2 cup, which is 28 grams, while we have here 4% of fiber for 3/4 cup for cereal B. So which do you think is healthier? So the healthier is cereal A, because in 1/2 cup it has 28% of fiber. So you can also check in the sugar level, the protein, with the vitamins, or the fats that can be found in the nutrition fact. So you can also check that. That is why even the health professionals always tells us to check the label. Okay, when they tell you to check the label, they are talking about the nutrition facts. So wag niyong kakalimutan yon. Importante na sinecheck natin yung label ng mga kinakain natin. So yung mga kinakain natin na, for example, for a longer period of time, yung mga noodles, yung mga nasa cans, mga in cans, class, kaya mahaba yung shelf life nila. Pwede mo silang kainin within 1 month or 2 months or abutin pa yan ng 3 months because their nutrition facts contains a lot of sodium. So yun yung medyo delikado sa health natin dahil maraming sodium, maraming salt, kaya nagkakaroon ng kidney failure. So yun yung iwasan natin. Always eat healthy, class. Always look at the nutrition facts. So we are done. And now you need to answer the following. Answers only, class, for quarter 1, week 2. So watch the video to review and answer all the questions in your modules in your Google Classroom. It is found in your Google Classroom. Notebook, if you have the soft copy of the module, and if you have the printed modules, answer it in the printed modules. Then do not forget to take a photo of this one and attach it to our quarter 1, week 2. So for lesson number 1, pages 2, 5 to 8, those are the numbers that you need to answer. Answers only, class. And for lesson number 2, pages 2, 5 to 8, again, maybe may pagkakamali. They have some typographical error. May pagkakamali sa page numbering. So tingnan nyo na lang, class, ha? So in lesson 2, pages 2, 5 to 8, yun ang sasagutan. And the last one for lesson number 3, pages 3, pages 9, 13 to 16. So those are the questions that you need to answer in our quarter one, week two. So if you have any questions, do not forget to contact me to my YouTube channel, to my Instagram, and to my Facebook account. So I do hope that you learned something today. And let's call it a day, class. Goodbye and have a nice day. Always be prepared and God bless you all. Bye, everyone.